Hello everyone and welcome to Cinderful Gaming. In today's video we're going to look at getting started with the bot war miniature game with the Overlords faction using the Gorg's Gladiators box set as a starting point. Today's video is brought to you by Traders Galaxy, the people behind the bot war miniature game and other cool miniature games as well. We'd like to give a massive thank you to them for helping support the channel and allow us to create the content for their games. First of all, in the box set, we have Deep Sea. Now, this model has the Armored Might super ability, which is going to allow it to boost up its powers quite substantially, though it does take some energy to keep maintaining it throughout the game. Now, we have a couple of special rules here that are pretty common amongst all of the different Overlords models we're going to look at. First of all, Aquatic, which means we just suffer no movement penalties for moving over or underwater. And Efficient, which will allow us to get a free activation each turn. This is pretty important because Overlords generally do generate very few energy. In fact, one pink energy is all that Deep Sea will generate. But he does have the Combat Axe rule where if this unit is making a close attack, targeted unit may not use any advanced Hello armor everyone or combat and shield welcome specials to against it. Cinderful It's Gaming. pretty cool considering we've got 3 base combat attack. Chomper is then next, and once again, only generating 1 energy, but it does have Efficient and Aquatic. We've got Combat Axe the same as before, but we also have Surge. This is pretty cool because we have range attack 3 on the model, and what Surge does is if a unit with this rule damages a target with a regular range attack, the damaged target loses an additional hit point for each energy point still attached to the model. So trying to get some of the extra energy we may generate on some of our models because we've got Efficient there to give us movement or attacks around the table without it, could be a really useful way to boost up the damage of Chomper. Smaller is next, and this model has Adrenaline. This is a very common ability that we do have amongst the models here in the Overlords faction, and what this does is essentially when the model's taken down, it can get back up. Now, Adrenaline can also be used when the model's already up, and it gives us a critical dice worth of health and combat attacks for the rest of the game, which is really cool, just further boosting the model, but it does take some energy to get it off first of all, and then we can sort of go around doing all the damage. Next is Ripper, and Ripper is one of the few models in the force that has ram attack. This just gives us some extra movement for both of our 2 actions around. We can use ram attack, get extra movement on the first move, and move into contact with an enemy, and then get an attack with an extra critical dice. Now, combat scimitars are a cool rule that this model has that's special. That means you can reroll 2 dice when making a combat attack, but you either have to reroll 2 or none. Next is one of the biggest models we have in the force, and that is Gorger. Gorger is pretty solid with a strategy rating 9 and health points of 9 as well, meaning it can survive quite a decent amount of punishment. The model has a combat sword in there. This is actually a defensive ability because it means your opponent has to reroll one of their attack dice when targeting this model with a combat attack. Goremouth is next, and this model is a pretty solid all round. 3 range and 3 combat with 3 shields, movement 7, a strategy rating of 5, meaning it can activate a decent time in the turn. But you've got the nuclear shell special rule here. It means if you damage anyone with this model that has the special rule, all remaining activations of power boost on the damaged unit take an extra energy point. This is really useful, especially since generally late activation models are generally some of the big heavy hitters in the game. If this thing can sort of target and force those models to have to spend extra energy, meaning they're likely not getting the super abilities after your opponent has put energy on them to activate. Second last model in the initial box set is Piranha. Piranha has Aquatic Efficient, as we've come to know with all of these models, but it also has Pugilist, which allows it to reroll a single combat dice per turn. This is pretty cool. You've got Combat 3 there, strategy rating 4, the model can activate pretty early. It does have 3 shields despite only having 5 health as well, so for its cheap points cost, it's a fairly decent fighter. And lastly, we have Lockjaw. Now, Lockjaw has all the same rules that Piranha just had, but also has nuclear shells on top that we've already talked about, able to sort of damage some opponents. Strategy rating 6 means this model is definitely going to be attacking into your opponent's models that have higher activations in it, so generally the big heavy hitters or the slow moving plodding pieces on the table. But you do have a range, combat and shield of 3 on the model. 5 health is a little bit low, but you've got Armored Might there as well, which can really help keep this model alive with some of the boosts that can provide. Now looking where to go next, the first model I'm going to suggest picking up is Grog. Now you could pick up any one of the 3 sort of actual Overlords models we have, these aliens that create all these sea monsters we see here, all the kaiju, but for me, Grog fits nicely into the points. I also think that the force field keeps the model alive. Strategist is really nice, able to allow us to pick one of our friendly models and add or subtract up to 3 from their strategy rating. This could be really useful on some of the models with nuclear shells if your opponent has sort of some of its more dangerous pieces with lower activations. I find that's a really good way. Force field there as well means you do get to boost some of your shields once per game, and of course it's got efficient like a lot of other models, but more importantly it's providing 3 energy. This model only has 1 range, 1 combat. It's not going to be using any of our energy except for potentially moving, which you can use efficient to do, so no need to do anything special there, and it can sort of provide this energy to other models that may need them. Lastly, to fill in the last few points we have, we've chosen Hammerhead. This is a pretty all-round solid fighter. Now, range 3, combat 3, shields 3, movement 7, 6 health on it. It's also got nuclear shells there as well, with a strategy rating of 4, which is really nice, meaning you can activate really early, especially when you consider you combine this with strategists. It could be strategy rating 1 potentially, which is really cool. Because you do use strategist at the start of the round before any models activate, so having someone nuclear shells activate at strategy rating 1 is really nice. Now for our Overlords army today, we're going to have all the models that we talked about in this video. All of them taken together combined bring us to 100 points of models. This is the standard size game for a bot war game. We hope this video was helpful in getting you started with Bot War, and that it was able to give you some ideas and inspiration to start your own force in the game. If you have any other questions at all, please comment down below, and while you're there, don't forget to drop a like, subscribe, and join our Discord server to check out all future Bot War and Traders Galaxy content. We hope this video was helpful.